All right, so I will begin as I always do with the official, but wait a second. It's the beginning of May. Official, a brand new month. It's time for new beginnings. So there is the hashtag join the hashtag jubilant hello to all of my good friends out there in the universe. I do thank you so very much for stopping by today. If you do like this video, thumbs it up and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget my brand new checkmark trading course is available. You can get the course only, or you can join the inner circle and have lifetime access to all of the services, including day trading and part-time trading and the course itself. So if that's something you're interested in, the description is down in the box. The question today will be, is this going to be the sell in May and go away? Because I tell you what, since, let's say last Thursday, we've started to see some weakening, maybe some weakening at the knees in the market. And look, I almost feel silly for saying that, because every time you think this thing is ready to break down, it doesn't do it, right? It doesn't do it. It's got more lives than a cat. It's crazy. But anyway, let's go through the chart here real quick on the SPY. We'll take a look at the Qs. We'll take a look at a couple of these others here and see where we stand up. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a precursor to where we're going on here, because our little baby Pavem is coming back. We may want to take a look at this one here again. So if you look at this chart, really over the last couple of weeks, we haven't done anything at all. We've been in a seriously tight, consolidated area, and that's it. The market's just been flat. Now, we've seen some intraday activity. We had the Fed, which created some intraday activity. We had intraday activity on Thursday, where we had this really big washout followed by a really big bounce. We followed with some more selling. We had a gap and crap today. So there is a couple of things here that's happening that we haven't seen much, and that's some intraday volatility. It's been kind of docile, I say, over the last couple of months. Now, when you're in this consolidation, truthfully, it could go either direction. It's really just 50-50 at this point, because you could either break out here and start making a new high, or you can start exploring lower territory here. Now, if that happens, let's just talk about the first one. If we go up here, if you're going to stay under 420 here for the remainder of the week, and if you're looking at week by week, I'm going to pull up a weekly chart here for just a second. Sorry for bouncing around. But if I look at a weekly chart, you're going to see the same thing. We haven't really done anything in about 3 weeks. This thing's actually, maybe you can say 4. We've been boxed in for an entire month here. So this has gone on a lot longer than maybe we think it, or at least I think it has. Maybe you're fully aware of it. I thought there was a little bit more range in it. But anyway, let's go back and talk about this daily chart. So we're sitting here in this tight range, and you know, that's what can happen. We can either make this break above 421. I think if you move above 421, you're going to run into 450 up here. Or if you break some of these lower ranges, which is about 415. Yeah, 415 should probably send you somewhere closer to 400 flat. Those would be the ranges I think that you're working in when you're taking a look at a broader scope of this chart. I think if we do break out, we're going to make a pretty quick trip, I think, to 450. It would uncork this thing, because you could look at this two ways. You could look at it, one, from the bullish side and say, when you see consolidation like this, that this chart is just resting, that there's the absence of sellers and it's just catching its breath, and all it takes is a little gust of wind to start breaking it out, and you'll go into another expansion move like we've seen so many times in the past. And maybe that's the probability. If you're looking at the short side, you could say there's just no more buyers up here. Market's starting to get weak. It's unattractive. All the news is out and whatever. Both sides could be correct, but while you're stuck in this consolidation, you don't have an official answer there, so kind of govern yourself accordingly. If we take a look at QQQ, a little bit more volatility here. This one is starting to show signs of weakening, but still, it is also in a very tight range. So until you start exploring either the upper range of this box here, which is 342, or the lowers, which is going to be probably 335. I might be a couple of pennies off on that one, but same thing with the SPY. You're either going to start moving up out of here and you're going to start targeting 350 plus, or you're going to move down in here and maybe sink down to about 310, maybe 300. Now, even if we sell off, I'm not expecting anything overly dramatic, 5% to 8% maybe on the SPYs, and maybe another 10% pullback here on this one. But remember, the Qs actually went through a pullback not too long ago of about 12%. Now, one of the things you do have to be concerned about here, I shouldn't say the words concerned, let's just say coherent of. If you have a trading plan, you should never really be concerned You just do what you do, and that's what happens. But the internals underneath the skin here are not as strong as they normally have been. Like if you look at last week, there was a day there, I can't remember exactly which one, but there was only 11 green stocks out of the NASDAQ at all. The NASDAQ was green on the day, but out of the 100, only 11 of them were green. The rest were red. So you can see that underneath, the internals are kind of sloppy, and they've been that way for a while. And maybe some of you are experiencing that, where you're looking at your watch list, like I said before. You know, I have maybe 60, 70 names on mine, and 3/4 of it is red, you know. But the markets are the ones that are on the top. It's still doing what it's doing. So strange, maybe a tiny bit, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So keep your eyes open here. You're going to make a break out of here, and the direction's going to be clear. But here's what we do have. The longer that consolidation has gone on, now it's close to 1 month, when it does make a move outside of that tight range, you're going to get an expansion move. Whether it's to the downside or whether it's to the upside, there's going to be an expansion move. So that is the market review right there. Let's talk about baby Pavem. Oh, little baby Pavem. It's trying. It is trying. Now, I went back with this one here a couple of times talking about the breakout here. I do have a tiny piece still left in this position. It was sitting down here for the last few days doing nothing. You got a really, really nice pop today. So this is a start for it. Now, normally when you see something like this, well, everybody's going to be different. If you're a short-term trader and price is particular to you, if you're somebody who's done your due diligence, you like this thing long-term, that's a whole different story. Don't listen to a word that I'm saying. I'm just a trader looking for a buck here, trying to see if this thing can make it to 6 and maybe get to 10. It's been struggling here lately, but it has been holding up very well. I'll give it that. You got a nice breakout here today. And I would have liked to seen the intraday chart hold up just a little bit more. You really started out super, super parabolic, and then it just kind of went flat. So this is something to look forward to. Like if it starts to move up a little bit higher, and I would certainly think if this thing takes out the highs of today of 550 tomorrow, that you will see a move that goes back to the all-time highs of 659, and maybe, you never know, maybe 10. So this thing is looking good. If you're not in it yet and you're trading, if you are trading and you're not in it yet, give it some time tomorrow to set up. It's digesting its gains. We'll see where it goes from here. But I'm interested in taking a peek here. It's Pavem, adding back some more to this trade. I also like this Disney. Well, I really liked Disney a little bit more yesterday than I did today. You've got, started out really nice, and the daily chart was what was really attractive to me. I'm going to open this thing up. It really looked good a little bit earlier, and maybe I shouldn't even be bringing this one up because, you know, when I had it, I thought I was going to talk about Disney. Now I'm looking at the chart and like, how ugly. You know, what a rejection here. But earlier in the day, it looked like it was really going to clear this 190 area and start moving back up to 200. But just kind of watch it. I'm starting to get a little bit of feelings here that some of these longs are just not, they just don't feel maybe like they should. That could just be me going through some, I don't know, little bitchy, hissy, sissy stuff. I don't know, but that's the way I see it. Maybe this WCN possibly here for a short. It's got like an 80 RSI down here. I mean, this is hella steep. I mean, this is really, really steep here, but it hasn't shown any signs of giving that up. Looks like you got a divvy coming here, but maybe just watch these. I'm not saying just start going. Most of the stuff that I've mentioned here right now, actually all the stuff I've mentioned today, I don't see any need for you to start your day out buying or selling that. I honestly don't. It looks like you've got so many different things going on here, but it looks like you've got to give these things a few moments because you started out with a pretty strong gap. The Dow held up more than any of them. You saw really. Another thing I wanted to point out, hate to jump around, but I was talking about these NQs here. I'm sorry to bounce back and forth. It's Monday. It's the first start of the month. But anyway, intraday here, you had a pretty sloppy move out of this NQ. This is the QQQs, by the way, the NASDAQ sector. Tech sector, excuse me. You start out the day with this dive bomb. Then you go super parabolic. Then you really dive bomb, and then you just kind of go to sleep. So here's what I was talking about. Because I didn't mention this before. When markets correct, they normally lay a string of breadcrumbs along the way, some clues for you to kind of pick up that, all right, look, it just didn't come out of nowhere. You go back to Thursday, there was a very aggressive sell-off after the Fed. Here's where you're starting to see, just take a look at this chart. I'm just going to go through it, and you can see the radical movement. I mean, look at these washouts here, these up and down A-frame styles, just straight up, straight down. You get a rally here, then you get a just absolute, beating, and then you're still going through this. Look how messy this chart is with all of the ups and downs. So as the volatility starts to come in, then the question is this a precursor to maybe something that's a little bit deeper? Again, I'm not going to go into the doom and gloom crash scenario, but a 10 to 15% pullback, especially at some of these levels, is probably in order, and it may be well past due, but hey, it'll happen whenever it's ready to happen. So going back, I want to look at Pavem again. Well, I already have a piece of Pavem, but I'm interested in going back into that one if it can hold up. The thing is some of these stocks just haven't been going back-to-back days. I did like Netflix. I didn't talk about that one today, but I haven't seen it in the last. This looked good. Again, there's not a whole lot out there right now I'm really enthused about, but I do like this daily chart. But the same thing as Disney. It looked a lot better this morning than it did now. The close was a completely different story, and maybe it's a fake out. We're going to find out. Pay attention to Pavem. Pay attention to Disney. Pay attention to Netflix. But really pay attention to the markets. Keep really close eye on those tight consolidations, because we're either going to move out of that and start to see a really strong linear rally, or we're going to get a pretty quick washout, maybe down to a more respectable level to buy. Only time will tell. So guys, I hope you had a really good April. If you need some help with your trading, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is down in the description box. I want to thank you for watching this video. Take care, trade well. I will see you soon.